sweet, great. If you don't, I don't care. So, chapter 6, right? And maybe I'll put like a fun picture beneath here to like represent what it is. This is getting super old now. But if I go into chapter 6, there's something here that hasn't been in the other chapter folders. Selected answers. I am now giving you access to the answer key, which can again be taken away very quickly. Here's the deal. As you are doing your practice work, like if you try hard enough, you can cheat, right? Like come on, we're living in 2025. There's AI, there's Photomath or other apps like that. There's YouTube videos from teachers teaching you how to do these problems. If you try hard enough, you can find the answers to this stuff. I don't even grade you on did you put the right answer on your paper. I grade you on did you do the work? Did you interact with the math? Did you like experience it? And even if you don't get it right, like I'll normally give you a check, but if you got it wrong and like I need to address why you got it wrong, I'll put like a C on it, right? So it's not even about right answers. But if you don't know how to do something and you're trying it out or you're not confident yet, being able to go check, did I get it right, is really powerful, right? Because like I've had kids come up and say, like, will you just tell me if this is right or not? Because you want to build that confidence of I did it right. And sometimes, some of you aren't listening, and this is the part that might surprise you, if you totally don't know what you're doing, but you can go look at the end, like the answer, it will like trigger something in your brain. You're like, oh yeah, I remember what we're doing. So like with graphing a line or writing the rule of a situation, if you can go look at it and be like, oh yeah, the y equals mx plus b thing, the slope intercept thing, oh yeah. But, and this is the most important part, do you think a year from now, if you cheated your way through your homework, I'm going to be impacted by that? No, you're not my student anymore. I mean, you'll still be at Phoenix, but like, no, you're not mine. A year from now, if you cheated your way through your homework, do you think you'll be impacted by it?
Yeah.
Yes, because reminder, next year, you are taking high school math 1. No like combined classes. You're taking a high school class. You get a letter grade, like A, B, C, D. You get a letter grade. It goes on your transcript. It matters if you learn what we're learning right now, like, well, right? Like, actually, because that's going to determine your success next year. So, I know I'm giving you the option to cheat your way through. But also, this only shows you the straight up answers. Like, there's more work to do than just write down the answer, right? On most problems, there's some work that needs done before you can get to the answer. So, if I start to be able to tell that you are just straight up copying answers from here, and it's kind of obvious because I know what problems like need some extra things written and what ones don't, that's when we call parents in and have a conversation about like, you know, ethical use of resources. Yes.
What if we just don't write work down sometimes?
I already have learned how you guys like think and do your homework. Don't worry about that. Like I know how you do your stuff. And on the masteries, really when I see did you learn it or not, right? And that's just it comes down to the masteries. So I mean, you could get away with cheating your way through like a unit of homework, and then the mastery happens, and you might kick yourself of like, man, I shouldn't have done that because now I don't know what I'm doing. Right?
Fight yourself. Shoot yourself.
They release the answer key and then like they like have to do a review where like he assigns like questions on the homework.
Yeah.
Not directly, but like questions that were like
Guys, a lot of high school teachers do this because, quite frankly, like if you want to cheat your way through the homework and then bomb the test, that's your learning lesson right there. Like that's your natural consequence. All right, dive into blue point rule. On one of these slides, it feels like the blue point is like the little sibling of the red point. You'll see what I mean. Like, just go ahead and get into it. You'll see what I mean. Feels like a little brother, little sister, just kind of following you around.
Sam is not my little brother. I don't want to be. If Sam were
Hey, I also turn on music, so like you guys maybe turn off talking. Please use this respectfully, right? Don't just cheat. That'd be silly. Cora,
Yeah.
one was it from? Was it from 1-1 or 1-2?
1-1. It's
1-1.
problem 6.
Go ahead and do blue point. Go ahead and start that. I'm gonna pull us back together in a minute.
It's like a mirror.
So how do we say that mathematically?
Reflection.
I know. That's another reason why I just went to shut the door. Somebody let someone move up.
Josh did.
You said it was 6-6.
Yeah.
So, hey, for example, Cora was struggling on 6-6. Guys, please don't make me like go pause that. I feel silly when I do that, and it messes things up sometimes. So let's say Cora was struggling on problem 6, and she was at home, and she'd already checked homework help. Now, I know that for problem 6, homework help will walk you all the way to the answer pretty much.
I totally did.
But like, this might remind Cora, oh yeah, by rule, the math rule is like y equals whatever, or whatever letters you want to use. But 6-6 is talking about the number of tiles that we see in the figure. Now, I'm not going to go all the way through the problem because honestly, use homework help because I've looked at this problem's homework help. It's really, really good. But Cora and I ran out of time yesterday, so I told her, hey, I'll do this during class. We can see that we're getting smaller by this one showing us that figure 3 has 7 tiles. And if you go to homework help, it shows you one of the best things that you can do is set up a table here to then figure out, well, what's our y-intercept, or figure 0, and what's our growth, or our slope, right? Well, 1 had 11, 3 had 7. How many did it go down across here? 4. So how many should it go down right here?
2.
Yeah, so this should be 9, which means if we work backwards,
13.
that should be 13.
Period.
And that would then give you that verification. Oh yeah, y-intercept of 13, and the slope is -2 because we're going down by 2 as we move. And that would be a responsible way to use the answer key of like, all right, now I know what I'm doing. Now I know. All right, blue point rule. Sorry, needed to do that requested problem. You guys are funny. And I love that like it's consistent that you're doing the same thing that the morning class did. I'm not going to yank you guys back to this slide, and it's okay if your answer's wrong. But guys, this slide was literally just trying to get you to literally type in what it said. Literally. You weren't trying to estimate like what numbers. We don't have any numbers out here. Literally, it just wants you to type BA. But here's why. Because some of us have forgotten. Coordinates have to be put in parentheses. If it's not in parentheses, it's not a coordinate. So coordinates have to go in parentheses. And we always have x comma y, right? It's always x first. It goes in like alphabetical order. So go ahead and keep going. And you don't have to go back to this, but be aware, like, it just literally wanted you to type in B comma A. It does a frowny face if you do it wrong. You don't want a frowny face.
It doesn't.
Cosmos, like if you're like wondering something.
I'm not even there yet, y'all. We got this guys people we can help.
I see my feet about the little brother.
Uh-huh. Hey, by the way, because some of you were trying to talk about quadrant numbers, we need to make a reminder of what the quadrant numbers are. So hopefully you guys remember X and Y, right? Where's quadrant 1?
Oh.
Just shout it out.
Top right.
Top right. That's, everyone should know that because it's the positive, right? Where's quadrant 2?
To the left of it.
To the left.
It goes around.
Because in math, I didn't decide this. I'm mad about this too. In math, if somebody tells you to rotate 90 degrees and they don't tell you what way, it's counterclockwise. Positive rotation in math is counterclockwise. Hey Elias, can you tell me what I just said?
Counterclockwise.
What?
Um.
A positive rotation.
Positive
in math.
rotation in math.
Okay, just making sure.
If they don't tell you what to do, there's always counterclockwise.
So that's why quadrant 2 is there, quadrant 3 is here, and quadrant 4 is there.
Guys, how do I do number 6? Caleb, help me. Caleb, Cookie, Misty, help me.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Most of us are past this now. Let's see what people are saying. And you're anonymized, just protecting everyone's feelings. So, this was our first blue point rule. And it asks you to describe it, right? Like in words. It'll be the same distance as X, Y lines, but reversed or mirrored. It'll always be the opposite of you and is never in the same quadrant. If the red one is on the right, the blue will be on the left. Because he wants to claim his answers. It'll be the opposite quadrant horizontally. Exact if, I don't know what this exact is doing. If red point is 1, 1, then blue point, ooh, I like that, the example that you gave. It's the same Y coordinate, but the opposite X.
That's not my answer. That's what I said. Yeah, that's not my answer.
Sam, dude, don't do that, please, because now your first and last name are in my video, and it's going to go on YouTube. So that's your fault. Tell me if you're uncomfortable with that, and I can figure it out, but do not do that. I try very hard to make sure I do not put your full identity up on the internet.
You can probably say
Ooh, it will be reflected across the y-axis
Guys, I'm famous.
on your graph paper. So actually, I'm just going to start this and we're going to come back to it after you've gotten a couple more slides. But what we're doing here, now I know the activity uses A, B, but like we can, instead of X, Y, we could say A, B. But so like you decide what your brain likes better. But how we write these transformations is like we show that and then we say, okay, is going to go to or become. So do not write this. Like, no, write what I just wrote. But what I'm about to write, I'm just putting down as a quick example. So if you wanted to go up 5, you would write this X, Y plus 5, right? Because that would take you up 5. So what we're about to try to do as you move forward in those slides is if they start you with a point AB, how could you get the blue point, right? Like what can you do to what they give you to get the blue point? I'm erasing this because none of, like this is not any of what's happening up there. So I want to see everyone get past slide 6 so we can talk about this, because slide 6 essentially asks you to do this for that reflection across the Y. I know, that's the point of Desmos. Confusion happens right before learning. Guys, again, you're not trying to use actual numbers. You're trying to use like the A and the B they give you. So like when you look at slide 6, you're not trying to use actual numbers. All right, so for example, right here, most of us, like there's 8 of us on this slide already. Actually, let's all meet up on this slide. So, Cora, I love that you keep pushing me, like, but I don't know how, because you do. You did. Like, between what everyone said, oh, it's going to, no, I did not keep sync on. But, like, you guys said it right here. And especially this person. It's the same Y coordinate, but the opposite X. Okay, so it's the same Y coordinate, but the opposite X. So who up here is right? Hey, it's the same Y, but they said it's the opposite of what X was. So we'll take the opposite of X, keep the Y the same. That will reflect across the Y axis.
That is what I said, though.
So in, like, hey, I'm helping you with this one because I want you to be able to do it as you move forward. So it's saying if red is AB, how do we get blue? We do the opposite of A, keep B what it is. If you care to have the right answer typed in, that's what it would be. It's the opposite of A, right? Because if A was like 7, or like X, right? If X is like 7, this guy's at -7. But if X is like -2, X is at +2 for the other point, right? It's always like the opposite. Always that's the whole point of class. All right, keep going. Try your next ones. I want to see if we can all get one of them right. Ooh, careful. Whoever's talking about degrees, you cannot flip with degrees. We rotate with degrees. We can't really like use degrees when talking about reflecting. Degrees are for rotations. Degrees are for rotations. Some of you are going to not read this and get annoyed, so I'm going to read it for you. The rule changes. New rule. New rule. Get away from me, little sister. Why don't you stop following me, little brother? Well, I don't know. I'm just taught, like, whatever sibling you have, I'm at, like, this kind of feels like, you go outside, they follow you outside. You go in your bedroom, they follow you there. You go to the kitchen, they follow you there.
That's me alone. That's me when I go to my friend's house. My sister follows me there. She's like, can I play with you guys? I'm like, no, I don't. Mr. Hudson.
Slide 14 is so confusing.
Great, I'm on slide 8. I'm not ready to talk about slide 14. Hey guys, no one yet on slide 8 has written it the way that we're trying to write it. Oh, crap. Never mind. That's the verbal one. My bad.
I was gonna
Yeah. Teachers make mistakes too.
I was gonna. Mr. Hudson, you asked all.
Hold on. On slide 10, only one of you have it right so far. So that slide, right, is saying if we start, I'll go ahead and use their notation of AB. If we have AB, and we want to show little brother, little sister who won't stop following us. Now, a couple of you have said it on slide 8. A lot of you have said it. It adds 1. All right, check it out. It adds 1 to each coordinate. It stays in the same quadrant, more specifically 1 right, 1 up. Blue dot will always be 1 up, 1 right. 1 block over and up. Blue is diagonal to the right by 1. So how do we write that correctly? Only one person did it. I'm curious if that person is confident enough to share with us.
I did it like 2 now. The answer first. Oh, are we on 10? No.
All right, Jude.
I did it.
I did left parenthesis.
No, love it.
A plus 1 comma B plus 1.
That's what I did. Yeah, that's what I did.
Given that's doing.
If you would like your blue point to shift right, you add 1 to the X. If you want it to shift up, you add 1 to the Y. Remember, you're trying to write the rule for the blue dot. Now we have another new rule. This one's fun.
Now it makes my brain hurt. No.
Yeah, John Urschel, I agree with what you said, but that's not like, that's not mathematical. Okay, Caleb. I agree with what you said, but that's not like how we write it.
I think I have really good. Wait, I didn't even submit that. But yes.
Now other people are just going to start putting Caleb after their responses.
Guys, we should do that. Yes.
Wait! Hypatia!
But I didn't do it.
Wait, hold on. I think this makes sense. You guys said it's always in the middle, right? Like, whatever I do with my red, like, let's say I put red at 10, 10. Where's blue? So I put red at negative 10. So our rule here could be that A, B. What do we do into A and B? Yeah. Your blue point is half as far away, right? Both in the X and the Y. It is half as far. Let's see what people had said. Hey guys, I can like shut you down, like make your responses not visible to the class, and I don't want to do that, but there's obviously no purpose in like putting pictures in your answers. It's just a waste of time. Yeah, I'm not going to show it again because that like gives more credit to doing it and recognizes it more, but please knock it off so I don't have to go in and disable you being seen by the class.
Wait, like an actual image or like a...
They already deleted it because I think they realized, yeah, they're being a little too loosey-goosey. Oh, slide 12 gives us another smiley face. Which one's even worse?
I did it!
What are you on now?
14. Well, I mean, 16.
Did you figure out 13?
Yes. I think so.
Oh, sorry, 13's still the one we were just on. So 14's the new.
16 is bad too, because you have to describe it in AB, and it is confusing.
So do you think you figured out 14?
Yes, but I don't know how to describe it in AB. If we work
Can you
together-
describe it to
If
me?
we work together, can we both use the same answer?
Is kind of tricky. 14 is kind of tricky.
This one doesn't show answers. I hate the smiley clown. It makes me want to implode. No, if you get the answer right, the smiley clown stays.
So, I'm gonna make sure this.
Oh, I know what it is. Okay, Did you finish Caleb? Hey, Caleb.
Who put Caleb after their response?
Caleb, it looks like you.
Everybody.
I copyrighted mine.
It looks like all of your.
All right, so slide 14 said verbally, right? Slide 14, if you haven't made it here yet, does this weird, funky, like, wow, 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 wow. What, you think adults stop making sound effects? All right, so what people have said, blue is stuck on the x-axis and is 2 times as far to the left or right.
Yep, that's
A times 2b, I think is how that's pronounced. It follows the x-axis only, and the blue dot adds to the current number of x coordinate to it. The blue dot will always be at 0, y, but twice the x. Caleb, imposter. The blue dot will always be at 0, y, but double the x. All right, so when we go to do this, like, and write it in the proper notation. Hey, guys, this is like what you're going to be asked to do on your homework and the next upcoming mastery. Okay, so if we call red AB,
Wait, Mr. Hudson, look at mine.
how do we write this in the proper notation? I don't know who you are. That's the problem.
Caleb, you did really good.
Look at my
Mine
mine
is.
Someone who's typing?
Someone
copyrighted really good.
Oh,
I see it down. I already
Debbie.
all the way down.
I'm very proud of myself.
You're backwards. So, like, I'm proud of you too, but you're backwards. Yeah, you're backwards. Hey, if red started at AB, you all said Y is always at 0. You don't even need to involve 0B. It's just always at 0. What about the X, though? People said it's always...
It's always going to be double the red dot's axis. X-axis.
So we could write that 2A, comma, 0. So,
Wait, Mr. Hudson.
give me 30
I
seconds.
figured something out about the pausing.
Okay. I don't know if I want you to share this with the class.
Well, it doesn't let you like break.
Tell me first. Like, let me do this because this is important, and I want to give you guys 5 minutes for homework. So, I'm skipping parts A and B here, but if we come to part C, to describe transformations, or specifically translations, we need to indicate what has been done to the X, what has been done to the Y. So essentially, this, and you don't have to write this, but this is our red point XY. We're trying to describe how did it get to here. So our answer will be X plus or minus something, Y plus or minus something, to describe how to get from there to there. Anyone want to take a go at this? Tell me what happened to the X, Abby? X plus 2, because 3 went to 5. And Y, yeah, minus 7, or you could say plus negative 7. So that is how I just wanted to make sure we talk about that before you get out of here. You can continue playing with the activity, and I unpaused it because I hope you wrote this down since that's part of your homework. Lucy?
I put down writing directions on how to get there, but I still put how far you move.
This is what we're training to do, so it's okay if you did something different, but just make sure that you'll be able to do this in the future.
Okay, so can you remind? So what I've figured out is that if
I don't know how easy it is for me to get to that. I know I can, but first I gotta figure out who you are. Yes, I know that you're Elias. By the way, it's recording right now, so if you care that you're in the video,
I'm John Morris.
okay, so here's what I can do. I can hide you. I can't this is what I was talking about, where people keep doing silly things. I can hide you from the activity, but I can't actually just straight up pause just you.
Okay, so what I've figured out is that if you're moving the thing and the teacher pauses it, you can still move the thing.
Oh, until you lift your finger?
Yep, until you lift your finger.
Okay.
It has no use.
Okay. I don't know how that's that powerful of an observation.
It's a very good observation.
Okay, sure. I mean, good on you. I mean, because your action is still taking place, right? And if I paused after your action started and your action is still taking place, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I happened after you have, you need to finish before what I've done activates.
It is technically a code glitch, but
I don't know if there's a way for them to get your mid-click to, stop. You know what I mean? They would have to essentially, disable whatever the click you did. And what if you're in the middle of, something epic? Doing, a 5-part move or something. I don't know. I'm just recording to make sure I've got it recorded for posterity.